Everyone, two towboats are keeping watch tonight over Jeff Ruby's waterfront restaurant on the Ohio River. For the second time in 3 years, it has an unwanted new location.
There was one person on board when the restaurant broke free from its moorings late this morning. Local 12's Brad Underwood is live in Covington with his story. And what's next for the restaurant, Brad?
Well, good evening, Rob. Tonight the waterfront is secure. Two towboats, as you mentioned, have the restaurant wedged with a small flatbed barge. That light over my shoulders is one of those tugboats just past the Clay-Wade-Bailey Bridge, and it's going to stay that way. The boat will stay that way until tomorrow, until a decision is made on what to do and where to move it. And the man on board when the boat broke free, a 14-year employee of Jeff Ruby. His man is Steve Pope, and he said that he and his co-worker, while working on the boat today for an entire hour, watched ice crash into the restaurant. It began as another day of making repairs on the floating restaurant for Steve Poe and boat.Fogle. Then they noticed how floating ice continued to crash into the waterfront.
It felt like we were hitting speed bumps, stepping on the boat.
Fogle says the ice chunks were 100 feet wide by 8 inches thick. Then the two felt it.
I thought a barge hit me. The ice was so big it shook the whole boat.
Within seconds, Poe says all the ramps began falling into the freezing Ohio River, including the ramp he was walking on.
I tried to run off the main ramp, and I got about halfway down there, and it fell in the river, and then I was able to get back onto the main barge, or onto the boat, and it was, well, we kept on going downriver. When I turned to look, and I seen the barge moving, and all the ramps going downriver with the barge.
The waterfront spun around. It hit the Clay-Wade-Bailey Bridge and then stopped.
My biggest fears was going on downriver, riding it out. It was a wild ride for about 4 or 5 minutes.
Poe was eventually rescued by tugboat crews after a couple hours. Now those towboats will remain there, making sure that the restaurant doesn't continue to float down the river, potentially hitting the Brent Spence Bridge. As for what happens next, Jeff Ruby said there's a couple locations. It could be Ludlow or here at the Covington Landing, where they will take the restaurant tomorrow, and that should happen mid-afternoon. Reporting live in Covington, Brad Underwood, Local 12 News. Rob.
Brad, thanks very much. Crews are expected to be back in the morning about 7 a.m. Should begin moving the barge to a different location by mid-afternoon.